MontclairEarlyMusic RainbowRhapsody, a concert that has been put on by the Montclair Early Music Group. Before the program begins, I would like to invite you to turn the sound off on your cell phones, just so that the only music we are hearing this evening is from this lovely group. You are welcome. You are welcome to take photos this evening during the performance. We would appreciate you sending your photos, any photos that you feel comfortable sharing, to info@MontclairEarlyMusic.org. First Lutheran is happy to host this event this evening, where we will hear the music of LGBTQIA+ composers that have lived throughout our history. It is important now, as it has ever been, to lift up the gifts of LGBTQIA+ artists who in their own lives may not have been able to be public about their own identities. In this month of Pride, we celebrate the power of visibility and the lives of all LGBTQIA+ folks, including those who were not public about their identities. We honor and recognize all who are on a journey of self-discovery and the ways they lean into the fullness and wholeness of who they are. One of the many beautiful ways this is done is through music and composing music. Tonight we will enjoy a glimpse into the heart of those artists. I would like to now introduce our narrators for this evening, Madeline Gale and Ravenna Spence, co-founders and board members of Out Montclair. They also sit on the NJPAC LGBTQ+ Advisory Council and are Montclair Civil Rights Commissioners. Thank you, Madeline and Ravenna, for being here today. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the talented musicians of Montclair Early Music.
From Corelli to Copeland, today we celebrate some of the greatest LGBTQ+ composers in music history. You're likely to have heard their music before, whether or not you knew anything about their personal life. Queer composers have made incredible contributions to the history of music, whether they were able to live openly in their own lifetimes has been different for each individual.
Our first piece is by Jean-Baptiste Lully, an Italian with a French name. Louis XIV hired him as a court musician and dancer. We will play his Chaconne des Africains. The Chaconne was a stately dance that was popular in the 18th century. You might wonder where the name Africains came from. The dance originated in the colonies. At first it was a raucous dance, but as it made its way to Europe, it became quite stately. Women in their long gowns couldn't dance anything raucous. Lully was famous for using his walking stick as a baton. He would bang it to the floor to emphasize the first beat. Since he himself was a dancer, he knew how important it was for dancers to hear that first beat. Once, he accidentally crashed his stick into his foot. The foot developed gangrene, and doctors wanted to amputate it, but he knew that would end his dancing career, so he wouldn't allow it. He died 3 days later. As you listen to his Chaconne des Africains, try to imagine Louis's baton beating every first beat, and the women in their big skirts dancing gracefully. The Chaconne des Africains.
early 20th century English composer, conductor, and pianist, is known for a range of works, including music for children and for amateur performers. One winter, he went on a ski vacation to Zermatt, Switzerland. His partner and their friend Mary Potter came along, and they brought along their recorders. When Mary had a ski accident, they kept her happy playing recorders. When Mary had Britten was inspired to write Alpine Suite, which we will play for you. The music evokes the cold of the snowy landscape and the charming Swiss cuckoo clock. Alpine Suite.
The first movement in the Britten Alpine Suite is titled Arrival in Zermatt. Zermatt, Switzerland is the home of the Matterhorn. As you listen to this first movement, picture yourself arriving in this winter wonderland aboard a train. well, maybe a couple can play. Picture careening down a black diamond trail, and hopefully we will get to the end of this movement without a crash and burn. Not for us.
Ethel Smyth, also an English composer, lived in the 20th century. Her 1911 song, The March of the Women, was dedicated to movement leader Emmeline Pankhurst, documented to have been a lover of Smyth's, and became the official anthem of the Women's Social and Political Union and women's suffrage activism around the world. She was the first female composer to be granted a damehood for her work, although she was still not accepted into the mainstream, as she was only a woman composer. We will play her March of the Women, which she conducted with a toothbrush from her cell window when imprisoned. Avi Weber, from our Recorder Kids program, will play a solo, March for the Women. to thank our hosts, Madeline, Gail, and Rubina Spence, who, by the way, were two of the founders of Out Montclair. So thank you so much for being our narrators. They volunteered to do this work. Joseph Randolph from Sotheby's is one of our sponsors. Is he here? Can you stand up? We really appreciate that. We're all volunteers and we're a nonprofit, so we do appreciate your donations. Also, I wanted to thank our volunteers. I don't know if, okay, can you all stand up, volunteers? I want to thank you for helping us. And there's one volunteer who had joined us, she just started playing the recorder last September, and she immediately volunteered to do research on the composers and help write the script. So I'd like to thank Wendy. And Arcangelo Corelli was a contemporary of both Lully and Handel, moving in the same sexually fluid circles as them. And like them, he was associated with gay clergyman Cardinal Pietro Ottoboni. The Baroque composer and violinist is known for his chamber sonatas and concerti grossi, and has gone down in history for refusing to play a section of Handel's oratorio, The Triumph of Time and Truth, because one violin note went higher than Corelli believed appropriate for the instrument. We will play his suite of dances. Here is Dance Suite.
King Frederick the Great of Prussia once wrote, "Fortune has it in for me. She is a woman, and I am not that way inclined," following a particularly bitter defeat in battle. History has documented the king as having affairs with a page boy and a lieutenant of the Prussian army, Hans Hermann von Kapp, whom his father had killed in response to these revelations about his son. Frederick the Great composed several concertos and sonatas and was also a flautist who studied with Johann Joachim Kantz, an acclaimed authority of the flute. We are very pleased to have a guest artist right here in Montclair, Dr. Jessica Valiente, to play one of the sonatas composed by Frederick the Great. She will be accompanied by Shi Yu Dang, who is a keyboardist here at First Lutheran and is finishing her doctorate at Manhattan School of Music. She recently gave a wonderful concert here at the church. Sonata, played by guest artist Dr. Jessica Valiente and Shi Yu Dang.
Copeland was an American composer whose sound was said to evoke the vast American landscape and pioneer spirit, including the ballets Appalachian Spring, Billy the Kid, Rodeo, and Fanfare for the Common Man. Copeland came to an early acceptance and understanding of his sexuality while guarding his privacy. He did, however, live openly and travel with a close group of talented younger men involved in the arts. We will play simple gifts from his Appalachian Springs, and we invite you to sing along, which you can find in your program, which we downloaded from online, after our instrumental arrangement, which was arranged for us by a Kenyan musician, Edwin Manono.
Homosexuality and bisexuality were against the law back in the days when studios ran Hollywood, approximately 1905 to 1958. The movie colony was literally riddled with people whose sexual persuasion was anything other than heterosexual. The studio bosses knew who was what, and of course they kept a close watch on the tabloids to make sure the sexuality of their meal tickets remained, at least publicly, heterosexual, and nothing but heterosexual. What started out as a safeguard quickly evolved into a full-time policy designed to hoodwink the paying public into believing whatever the studios wanted them to believe. Cole Porter, although married, had significant relationships with several men. He was one of the greatest contributors to the Great American Songbook. The rich body of work produced over his lifetime was categorized by wit and sophistication, but with an underlying strain of restless melancholy and loneliness. He once wrote the words and music must be inseparable, wedded to each other, that they are like one. You will hear I Got You Under My Skin, sung by our guest singer, Aurora Geis. I Got You Under My Skin.
Sacrifice anything, come
tell you this next person is not just a great composer and musician, but also a great conductor. I learned everything I know about classical music from Leonard Bernstein. I was very fortunate to attend the Young People's Concerts in New York City, and I hope all of you, or some of you, had an opportunity to see him conduct at some point. He was really magnificent. Anyway, I'll go back to the script now. So Leonard Bernstein is best known for the Broadway musical West Side Story. In addition to being an outstanding musician and composer, he was also a great humanitarian. Included in his many accomplishments is being a civil rights activist and raising funds for AIDS research. When he conducted a televised memorial after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, he said, "This will be our reply to violence, to make music more intensely, more beautifully, more devotedly than ever before." At the end of his life, he conducted a historical performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony to celebrate the fall of the Berlin Wall, a concert that was televised live worldwide on Christmas Day in 1989. Bernstein married Chilean actress Felicia Con Montealegre to quash speculation about his personal life. She wrote in her book, The Bernstein Letters, "You are a homosexual and may never change. You don't admit to the possibility of a double life. But if your peace of mind, your health, your whole nervous system depend on a certain sexual pattern, what can you do?" Friends and colleagues always said he loved his wife, with whom he had 3 children, while continuing to have outside relationships with men. Also, Stephen Sondheim, who composed the lyrics for West Side Story, was an American composer and lyricist, and was regarded as one of the most important figures in 20th century musical theater. Sondheim opened up about being gay when he was about 40 years old. He rarely discussed his personal life, though he said in 2013 that he had not been in love before he turned 60. Aspen Blake and Cheryl Stoyle will perform an arrangement of Somewhere from West Side Story that evokes the sentiment of love so eloquently.
Transgender woman composer, Ethel from Texas. Her work has been commissioned by numerous choruses and appears on multiple albums. She is graciously allowing us to play Moonlight Quartet for this concert. It's a quartet based on a choral work of Edith Sonogram's poem Nocturne. Sonogram was a Swedish-speaking Finnish poet born in St. Petersburg and died at the age of 31, and considered to be one of the greatest contributors to Nordic poetry. When Mari discovered her poem, she felt it begged for a musical setting. It is a perfect portrait of fine, silvery moonlight. Here's the poem translated by Mari. Silver, ethereal, moonlight evening, the night's blue wave, tinsel waves, without words, swirl around one another. Shadows fall along the road. At the shore, bushes sweep quietly. Black giants guard the silvery coast. Silent, deep in the middle of summer, sleep and dream. The moon glides over the sea, white and tender. Moonlight Quartet.
By the time the musical Rent made its off-Broadway debut, it was already the stuff of legend. Rent, a rock musical, retold Puccini's opera La Bohème, swapping out tuberculosis in 1830s Paris with AIDS in the East Village in the 1990s. Although apparently heterosexual, the composer, Jonathan Larson, lived among and loved the people he wrote about and ached for their losses and expressed their fears, dreams, and everyday indignities in sharp lyrics and evocative melodies. Tragically, Larson died of an aortic aneurysm on January 25, 1996, before seeing the first performance of Rent. He was 35 years old. Larson was awarded the 1996 Pulitzer Prize posthumously. Our guest singers, Aurora Geist, Aspen Blake, and Cheryl Stoyle, will sing Seasons of Love as a fitting ending to our program today.
How do you measure
For Somewhere Over the Rainbow, sung by Aspirin Blake. Also, I Got You Under My Skin, sung by Aurora